Welcome back to The Point. At this time, it brings me great honor to introduce my co-host, my colleagues, of course, my right-hand man, Akil Williams.
How you doing, brother?
I'm doing great, my man. And sitting in for Matthew Ezirike, who's out of town for the holidays, the one and only Robert Harris Jr., my brother.
Our boy getting so emotional.
Because you know what this is right here? This is my Running Gray show from the radio onto TV. Now, this is a blessing right now. It's good to be with you.
It sure is. I hope all is well with you fellas today.
Oh, yeah, everything good. Everything good, man.
That's good. All is not well for the FCS Post season. You know what's going on? For the first time in 2 decades, in over 2 decades, there will not be a HBCU team partaking in the FCS postseason. Now, what is this about? Bethune-Cookman, who's 9-2, and Prairie View A&M, who's 8-2. They had a chance to really make a postseason play, but for some reason they were snubbed. And coach of Prairie View A&M, Willie Simmons, had this to say. He took to Facebook to voice his frustrations, and I quote, "The good Lord constantly shows that our work is never done. With a 9-2 record, 8-1 in conference, and only one loss to an FCS opponent, Prairie View A&M got shunned from the FCS playoffs for multiple 4-loss and even 5-loss team. My players have nothing to hang their heads about. I'm blessed to be their coach." End quote. Fellas, what seems to be the problem? What seems to be the reason that Prairie View and Bethune-Cookman was snubbed out of the FCS postseason?
Just the difference right here. I said this before. The FCS has nothing to play for. They have no teams that's going to have a conference championship or somewhat of a bowl game to play for. The FCS playoffs is their only thing they have to play for. So Sam Houston, Youngstown, North Dakota, South Dakota, Montana, teams like that has to play for the playoffs. We can go like 4 or 5 losses and still make a bid, as opposed to MEAC and SWAC. Now you have the bowl game, the Celebration Bowl. MEAC don't have a conference championship, so they have to play. You have to do great in your regular season to get to the bowl game. But as opposed to SWAC, you have the East and West division, where you could be the top of your division and go to the conference championship and then play for the bowl game. I understand. I understand where they're coming from. They feel Bethune-Cookman should be in a playoff game, but you have a bowl game to play for. So that's way, in my opinion, that's way bigger than playing for a playoff game where the depth is not as much. You have like 50 players as maybe. When you're playing for a playoff game, you might get hurt and all this other stuff of that nature. I feel, honestly, they should play for a bowl game more so than a playoff game. That's just from my opinion, because I feel that it's a fair share almost, because these teams in the FCS, like I said, don't have conference championships. They don't have bowl games. So they have no other choice but to play for the playoff spot.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I'm going to piggyback on the MEAC situation. I think that Celebration Bowl is way bigger than just a regular playoff game where you're bound to lose when the spotlight is on you in Atlanta.
Yeah.
So I feel that's right for the MEAC. And the SWAC, man, PV, I'm going to break TV land. Let me break down 3 wins that the PV Panthers won. Texas Southern, Southern, and they won against Alcorn State, who is going to be in the SWAC championship. So I feel that PV got snubbed, and all that blood, sweat, and tears that you performed on the football field, it just went to waste.
And I feel another thing. The Celebration Bowl is in Atlanta, like you said, and it's on ABC. You get the national spotlight. These playoff games in the FCS is not TV time. The only time they are on TV is when it comes to the championship. And all I seen was Sam Houston every time. Last 2-3 years, I always seen Sam Houston in North Dakota every year, and I forgot it was a championship game. And I just feel as if when you in a bowl game, I feel that, okay, you have the BCS, you have the playoff system as well for the top 4 teams in the nation. But you're a SWAC school, you're a MEAC school. The bowl game is your championship. Like, for example, the SWAC. Let's look at some schools, for example. You have the Classics. You have Labor Day Classic, you have Bayou Classic. Mm-hmm. After the conference championship, you're done. That's all you're playing for was a conference championship. Now you're playing not just for your Classic, not just for conference championship, but you're playing for a bowl game. You get national media exposure. These NFL scouts could possibly be at your games and watching you. You could be a prospect that you could be like a 6th round, 5th round pick, but you might go up in the draft, do on your performance in the championship going against a MEAC school, because they always say SWAC schools is always smaller than the MEAC schools. Well, this the time to see. I'd rather see if I was a player in the SWAC or MEAC, I'd rather play in a bowl game more so than a playoff game, just due to national exposure and things that come with that nature.
But let's look at what Willie Simmons was really talking about, because he mentions that teams that qualify for the FCS playoffs have 4 losses on the season, 5 losses on the season. Prairie View is 8-2, only 2 losses. Bethune-Cookman's 9-2. So, could it be that they're an HBCU? That could be some part of that has something to do with the exclusion. I mean, let's talk about that.
It could. Okay, this the thing right here. I like Willie Smith, what he did with Prairie View. He burned that team livelihood. He burned that school, that university, something to look forward to during football season, because we always know about Prairie View football team has always been not up to par.
Yeah.
Now the question is, to Coach Willie Simmons, would he be saying that if they did make a bid for the SWAC championship?
Oh no, he wouldn't be saying
exactly.
that.
So
Exactly.
if he was where Grambling State was playing for the SWAC championship, would he make the same comments? But you got, like I said, you got to look at where they coming from. The teams that was 6-5 in the FCS don't have conference championships. They don't have bowl games, so they have the opportunity to have playoff games. As more so than they. I guarantee you, Sam Houston and Youngstown State and them schools like that would love to play in a bowl game more so than playoff, because you got to keep playing football. It's not like it's basketball.
Mm-hmm.
You getting better, you getting bruised, you getting injured. He would not be saying that if he was in a SWAC championship, if he was at the top of his division. So I don't understand where is that coming from. The HBCU, he got to understand they have something to play for more than FCS schools.
Yeah, so I like I still say, I think PV really got snubbed. I mean, 8-2.
Yeah, but you got to look at they have more opportunities than FCS though. That's the whole
I
thing.
think they would. I mean,
Now,
they got the team.
Yeah. Now, if FCS schools had a chance to go to a bowl game and conference championship, now we're talking controversy. But if they don't have the FCS schools don't have nothing to play for. They don't have no conference championships and no bowl games. So they have the opportunity to be on national TV. They got to take that, man. Next year it'll be a different story.
Yeah.
Well, when you look at the FBS, they have a bunch of bowl games all the time, but their main goal is postseason play.
Postseason play, exactly.
Whereas FCS, there's postseason, but they'd rather have bowl games to participate in.
Not a lot of media attention.
That's what those bowl games do, really. They bring a lot of media attention. That's what the FCS teams are looking at game.
Yeah, so that it's going to benefit HBCU schools the most.
In the long run, it will, but the last time the FCS playoff did have a HBCU team was back in 1991. Fellas, I hope next year is going to be something different. But right now, let's take a quick timeout, take a quick break, and when we return, we're going to highlight who will play Grambling State, since Prairie View won't be playing in the SWAC Championship. Who's going to be playing Grambling State in the SWAC Championship? Stay tuned to The Point.